Hi, welcome to Cliterally Speaking the Podcast. I'm Michelle Doherty.
And I'm Emily Lane.
We are BFFs dedicated to bringing you conversations between girlfriends over a bottle of wine.
Oh, I am so excited about the wine part.
Oh, me too. So pull up a chair, grab your glass,
and let's get talking.
Hello, Emily. How are you?
Hello, Michelle. I'm a little disappointed.
I know.
You didn't do the hey.
I know. We've been talking about the last couple weeks. Yeah, I almost did. I'm still trying to refrain.
Okay.
Maybe eventually I'll come up with something cool in between to replace it. So,
well, we did always say that we'd keep this honest. So do not refrain that hey. If that feels right, go for it.
Hey, Emily, how are you doing?
Oh, that's so much better.
Is that more natural?
It feels great. You know what? I am now even more excited to be here than I was when I walked through the studio door, because not only is this our Valentine episode.
Yes, it's so exciting.
Yes.
So exciting.
But we have one of my favorite people here.
And one of mine now, too.
That's true, yeah.
I consider Heidi a good friend of mine as well.
That's right.
Thank you for introducing me to her.
Oh, of course.
So introduce our guest, Emily.
So Heidi Harris is just, goodness, well, how can I explain her? She's gorgeous. She's intelligent. She's just one of the sweetest people I have ever met. Very accomplished. She is the associate concertmaster of the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. And she's also developing a new business where she's taking her expertise in yoga and developing a program to help young musicians deal with anxiety. So she's going to be doing retreats and classes that combine master classes and meditation and all kinds of things. So we are welcoming to this table,
have to be
Heidi.
on our show. This is perfect.
Yes.
Well, wow, that was quite an introduction. I know where to go when I'm feeling bad about myself. Thank you.
We do send text messages to anybody every day if they would
feeling
like
pretty
to.
good about myself now.
Self-affirmation, just contact us.
Yeah, clearly speaking, that text message. Well, welcome, Heidi. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you. It's so exciting to be here.
You've been looking forward to it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, what's not to look forward to?
Yeah.
Spending a little time drinking a little wine with us in the studio. Yeah.
We always have a good time drinking with Heidi.
Yes.
So,
Lots to talk about.
Yeah,
Anyway.
So speaking about drinking, should we talk about our bottle today?
Let's bring up the bottle.
Well, I have had this bottle in mind since the beginning of the podcast, but I've been holding it for a special occasion. I wanted the right time. So, because this is our Valentine's Day episode, we are drinking sexual chocolate.
Well, Emily, you must describe it a little bit more.
Yeah.
That really needs an explanation.
Sexual chocolate. I mean, I've had chocolate flavored wines and stuff like that. And so let's talk a little bit more.
Yeah. So this actually is not a chocolate flavored wine. It's just their description. The company that makes this Slow Down Wines, everything that they do is kind of kitschy and funny and sassy. But the great news about it is it's not just a marketing gimmick. It's actually really good wine.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So this is it's a nice red blend. I gave it a little taste when I first opened it up. I get all kinds of nice dark fruits on this, just a tiny bit of that earth floor in there, and a little spiciness. I think that's probably from the Petite Syrah. I think there's a little bit in there. It's really awesome. What do you think?
No, it is very good. I do like the way it tastes. I like the fact that we pretty much opened the bottle and we've been drinking it. It isn't something that...
It didn't need a ton of time.
Listen to me get so good with my wine descriptions and my wine knowledge now.
Didn't you find that interestingly enough, it does have a bit of that cocoa nib thing going on. As it's, kind of midway through the taste on the back of the palate, I get kind of a cocoa. Do you get that, Heidi?
I do, actually. Yeah. There's kind of a lot going on, but it blends really well. I like it a lot.
I can't say that I taste the cocoa. I like the way it tastes, and I like the way it's pretty easy to drink. it doesn't have like a long lingering aftertaste that's, that you're like, oh, I need to drink water real fast or anything like that.
Yeah.
No, it's very, very good.
It's got some structure to it too, which I like, can hold up. So I have to read this label. So think about, being Valentine's Day, I'm expecting a really nice description from you on this. But no pressure, everybody.
I'm working on it already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had to read this label, and we'll make sure to share a picture of it because it's really funny. It says, this bottle originated from a bootlegging operation my daddies and I had in college. We started making wine knowing it would be used for late night drinking and that the French are annoying. Okay, I'm going to say I don't agree with that, but, it's just their perspective. It took some time, but we finally perfected our blend. We finally perfected our blend and came up with this full-bodied red that pairs well with Wednesday nights and pizza. We use grapes from all over California, so we recommend this be drank immediately and shared with girls. When you want more, just call us. P.S. Made in USA. Isn't that fun?
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, very fun. Very, very, I think they're right that it should be shared with girls.
And drink with pizza.
And pizza. And being that this is the Valentine episode, and I'm single, I guess I'm going to be drinking this bottle by myself with the pizza. I'll, all my other single girlfriends out there who don't want to be hassled with all that love and stuff that's out on the shelves and reminded.
Hassled with love.
Hassled with their like being told, oh, yay, here's Valentine's Day. I hate Valentine's Day. I hated Valentine's Day when I was married because let's just say one time I've had a nice Valentine's.
Really?
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, this is really a depressing episode. Sorry, listeners.
Okay,
I'd like to be like happy about romance.
Okay. So what has happened to your Valentine's days throughout the years?
Continual letdown. Continual, hope that, this time, or even when I was married, right? No, it never was. It's never been a celebration for me except one time. And that was when we were dating, when my ex-husband and I were dating. So it didn't happen.
He was really working it at that point.
He was working it when we were dating. Yeah. So I don't buy any Valentine's candy till the day after. Cause it's half off.
Right.
But it's like, I know, but it's hard. I mean, I'm not here to rain on everybody's parade out there, all of our listeners and Heidi and Emily who are in wonderful relationships and have a wonderful reason to celebrate Valentine's Day. Yeah. So, and maybe...
I don't think you're raining on anyone's parade. I bet there's a lot of people that feel that way. I mean, I think any holiday is like that because there's this expectation for it to be special, which it should be. But we have a lot of time until Valentine's Day. So now my wheels are turning. Emily, you and I have to get together. We have to make this Valentine's Day special for Michelle.
Agree. I mean,
we're going to plan it, Michelle.
And to this point, and I love that this wine bottle said to be drank with girls. And that was another reason why I thought this would be fun to have on our episode because, I think that we just need to redefine what we think about Valentine's Day. I mean, yes, to be shared with those that you love, and those that you love, it doesn't have to be romantic love, right? It can be.
Oh, that's just so sweet, Emily. Yeah, I mean, I know you don't have anybody, but
she's like, yes, it does.
Maybe you could find a neighbor to go for a walk with.
She's like, I love you, Emily, and Valentine's Day would be awesome with you, but.
I don't think Ken wants me around.
Way more awesome with a guy.
All right.
That was a nice try, though. That was a good try.
You
get an E for effort.
But I would have to say, on the whole idea, I even when I was married, and maybe I was a little jaded, but I was like, why do you just celebrate your love one day? Why is it, and why does it have to feel forced by, the Hallmark people out there? And, you should actually be celebrating your love every day, not just on that one day. Yeah. And then like, okay, I told you I loved you today. I brought you flowers today. We had dinner today. See you in 364 days, I mean, so that's, any of the listeners out there, who happen to know a single guy.
I would expect
it
some calls
every day.
We're
I would
gonna get
expect
some
Valentine's Day every day,
Yeah.
nothing less.
Oh,
Well, and we do have several male listeners.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
they
know.
have some friends.
Right. Yeah.
male listeners, take note.
That's right. Michelle likes. What do you like for Valentine? What would you like? What would be your perfect Valentine's?
Oh well, now they're
Day
putting me on the
celebration.
spot.
Yes.
Yeah, it would involve time with the person I want to be with. Really, time, conversation, wine.
Yeah.
You know, moving someplace else with more wine.
That doesn't sound like too tall of an order.
Well, there's a whole thing about conversation that's
Has
in
to
there.
be the right person.
Oh, yeah.
Has to be the right the chemistry and everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
Then
It's-
it like kind of doesn't matter about everything else, I think.
Well, no, I mean, I have gotten a little bit more, what's the word, selective or in my years. There has to be a
As
little
you
bit more than
should.
just the, the
physical
conversation.
attraction.
Right, we talked about
right?
that.
Yeah, we did early.
Yeah,
Early
I
on.
have this thing I call it the EIP, the emotional, intellectual, and physical. So those are the three elements that have to be in a relationship that I find that's going to be successful. Sometimes it's just the physical, and you don't have the other two, and that's going to fizzle out. And if he's not smart and he can't talk to me, and
You are so picky. Oh my God. You want someone smart?
and then emotionally
luck.
connected. Yeah. Well, see, there you go. Why I'm single, and I have so my so not to detract from the wine anyway, but this is a wine, and it's how it's written out. But I definitely kind of when I taste it, I a little more sassy, like a little more of a corset kind of with some with the garter belt, some stockings. This is how
Ooh,
when I drink the
okay.
wine, that's what I'm thinking
like
about.
it.
Okay, that's
With
kinda-
or without a little whip is fine. It's on you. But
Okay, there's some Valentine's ideas, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Or maybe a fuzzy paddle. Maybe not a whip. Maybe it's a fuzzy paddle.
see there, Emily goes with the fuzziness, a little soft side. She just can't take the leather paddle. She's gonna have the soft, pretty, the gilded, the rhinestone handle.
So speaking of bedroom accessories,
That's what we call
Is
it
that what
these
we're
days.
talking about? Are we talking about that now? Okay.
Have some more to drink.
Let me adjust to that subject.
it just reminded me of an item that I purchased once when I was in San Francisco. I went to the Agent Provocateur store there, and I don't know if either of you
I have not
ladies
been.
discovered that store.
No.
It's an extraordinary experience. It's beautiful lingerie, and then they have bedroom accessories
Bedroom
also.
accessories.
But it's
In addition to lamps that you can clap on and clap off, there are a few other things you can clap on and clap off.
well,
Or
it
clamp
is-
on.
Oh, well, I didn't see any clamp-on kind of options there, but everything they have is luxurious and gorgeous. And I saw this item. It was a riding crop, and it had a handle with Swarovski crystals all the way around it. I had to get it. I just
that
had
is
to
so
get it.
you. The crystals.
Oh, yeah.
It has to be pretty.
It has to be pretty.
It's gorgeous. And so here's what was funny. So, I'm flying home, and my new riding crop doesn't fit into my luggage.
Oh, no.
So I just strapped it onto my carry-on bag. Like when you travel, for example, there are people that carry their bows as a carry-on. So I just carried my riding crop on the plane, and I had a couple connections at that trip. First plane, no problem. I'm leaving San Francisco. They're probably used to that.
Right. Yeah.
My connection flight, however, they had to x-ray it several times. They had to take it out of the box. They had to play with it. They were like, I don't think we can let you on the flight with this. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
what am I going to do? It's not like I'm going to,
Like Flog the attendant. I said I wanted red wine.
They were just jealous. They were
Yes.
jealous of you.
Yeah, they eventually did let me board with it. I think that they were just, the intrigue was.
I hope you have it insured. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
need to
something
call
like
my
that, you
agent.
probably should have it insured.
Perhaps I
know.
should call my agent in the morning.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
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 In case it gets broken.
That would
From
have
falling off the table or something
Yeah,
like that.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You want to have those crystals insured. You can get a little bit money back on that. Always a practical person I am. I always am. Very practical. Oh, goodness gracious.
Yes.
So, Heidi, what are your thoughts on the wine so far?
I really like it. I mean, I have to admit, I'm not great at describing wine. I know if I like it or if I don't, and I really like it. I mean, I think it's very robust. It's a little complex, but I don't have the words to sort of describe the complexity, but I do taste a little bit of the cocoa. I really do like it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not unapproachable at all.
No,
you
not
know?
at all. And I agree that that we drank it pretty much like right out of the bottle, and it's super smooth. It's not. I didn't think it needed to breathe too much, so it's really
Yeah.
pleasant. I'm
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to drink it very slowly.
Oh, we
so
have
I don't
Yeah.
a lot.
start slurring my words.
We
Yeah, we expect it. We expect that.
Okay.
We're hopeful because that's the only way we'll be able to communicate if we all slur our words. Then we understand each other. But
right,
if I'm the
well.
only one slurring, it's not gonna.
It's
Right.
no
It won't be fun
fun
for you.
It
won't
won't be
for
fun
me.
for you.
Anyway.
Well, we were contemplating on different topics to explore in this conversation today, and
And I've just rained all over Valentine.
yeah. So let's maybe in the vein of it being a Valentine's Day
Sure,
episode, and we're not limited to stay on the love factor, but I think it would be fun to learn a little bit about your great first loves that you had. That's a conversation we haven't quite had yet.
Well,
Interesting.
yeah. Why don't you go first, Emily?
Oh, great. Now I'm on the spot.
Yes.
So I'd have to say my
She likes to
first.
throw out stuff,
I
big
know.
heavy things.
Yeah, then she gets to think about it while we're talking.
While we're
and
shouldering
we're like
it, yeah. But no,
trying to think of what to say.
Well, you caught me. Let's see. My first great love. So I think I have had a lot of great loves because I'm just an amorous person. But my first great love was my dog, Bob Barker. Growing up, I just loved him so much. And at that time,
we're gonna have to have a warning label on this
cheating.
episode.
That's cheating.
Yeah.
I will catch
She didn't
up.
ask for the first great interspecies love.
I'm
And
a
she
little
needed-
disappointed. I have to say.
always.
I think you're cheating.
I
Okay,
will-
we'll wait for the next. I'm sure
I'll
this is just the
share.
beginning of the story, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll wait.
So, I did, before I knew what,
When you thought it was okay to be in love with your dog before you knew otherwise.
before
Okay,
I
Emily.
discovered your trio of factors, right?
The EIP.
Yes, the
dog
EIP.
was there. He was intellectual, just wasn't emotional enough, right?
He was an amazing dog.
Oh, no,
right?
stop.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
All right, I am going to move on. 'Cause I think this could go
You're
nowhere
you're
good.
digging
Back
a
to the
hole
human.
right now with your two front paws.
All right. Wow,
The first
we've
human
learned
love.
a lot about Emily so far in this episode. So let's see. My first great love, it was in high school. Yeah. I dated a guy for about 3 years. And he was older than I was. And in fact, when I met him, I was a sophomore in high school and he was a freshman in college or a sophomore in college at that time. And yeah, it was kind of like a love at first sight moment. We were set up by a couple of friends of ours that thought we would get along, and we certainly did. And, it was everything. It was my first great romantic relationship. It was, it was very exciting. He had the most
Interesting.
beautiful eyes.
Yeah.
I can still remember his eyes very, very clearly.
Yeah.
Very tall, stoic person, very intelligent also, worked really hard, it was lovely. And one of the great memories I have is visiting his house when his grandmother would visit from North Dakota, and she is of German descent and would always come and make these wonderful German pastries every time she visited. So, I would look forward to that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
So being a mother of 3 children, your parents let you date a guy in college when you were in high school?
Yeah.
That wouldn't, that makes me a little uncomfortable, but that's, because
yeah. Well,
I come from a different perspective. I'm sitting here trying to go, let me be the high schooler and let me put myself in Emily's shoes right now and think about the relationship from that point of view versus.
Oh, I was always older in spirit. I've always been one of those people that was older than the rest of my peers around me, just, and so, emotionally it worked really well, and intellectually it worked well.
And I can see that.
Yeah. And
it's
he
just
was a good
hard
kid.
at that. It's hard at that time frame, when young men and women are in high school and they have a whole different set of expectations versus when the guys are in college, and that probably was some difficulty you guys had.
In fact, towards the end of our relationship, and that quite honestly is one of the reasons why it finally ended with us, because the expectations, romantically speaking, with him were far greater than my comfort level at that time. And so, it got to a point where, every time we were together, he'd want to
have sex.
He'd want to have sex. And I was just kind of like, can we have more than a sexual relationship? Like I want to talk. I want to drink wine.
That's why I'm dating you, because you're 21. You can buy.
Right. I wanted more out of our relationship, and he was a typical young man at that point, wanting much more physically out of me than I was prepared for.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I remember a friend of mine was telling me about when he had dated a girl. They met in high school, but she was like a year or two older than him. And then she graduated and they were still dating. And she was like getting mad at him because he couldn't come out. So she's in college now. And she was like, but I have track practice. It's like, I can't come on. I have track practice today, And it was the funniest thing when you think about it, and how she got angry with him, because he was still in high school, and that's what happens. But anyway, moving on.
Yes.
Heidi, what's your answer here?
So I was kind of scrolling through my memories and wondering who that might have been. And it was my freshman year in college, actually. I didn't really have any great loves before then. There were boys for sure, but no great loves. So this guy was Australian, and we went. I know.
Yeah,
I
just
know.
stop right there.
I know.
You don't have to tell us anymore.
I don't want to say anything.
No,
He had dark
and
hair,
it wasn't an Australian
tall.
sheepdog. It was an actual Australian
Oh,
male.
how did you guess? You ruined it. I was starting with no. Anyway, so he we went to New England Conservatory together in Boston. And he was just sweet and smart, and when you meet somebody, you're just immediately comfortable. And he played piano, which was amazing because I play violin, and we would perform together, and just I don't know, we just were really comfortable with each other and had great conversations, like a real deep person. And our relationship actually. We never had sex, actually.
Really?
We kind of almost did, and then I just wasn't ready, and he was so sweet that it was okay. I think we really loved each other.
How long did you
had
date?
a great relationship. Oh gosh, it's hard to remember. I mean, maybe the majority of that year. I don't know, but
so you had not had sex yet at that time.
Wow.
Or, I mean, you don't have to
said-
answer,
that's a
but
terrible question.
well, I'm just saying.
That's kind of like, do you still beat your wife?
Well, I'm just saying. The reason I'm thinking that you weren't ready. I mean, in college,
Well, maybe
if
with
you
him.
had,
She may not have been ready with him. That doesn't mean that she
It
had
didn't
not.
feel right with him.
Okay,
I'm gonna
you don't
skip
have
over
to.
that
That's
question.
fine. That's fine.
It didn't feel right. but it was kind of a testament to our love, I think, and that it was based in friendship. I mean, there was huge attraction for sure. That was not the problem. I don't know. Didn't
You just
feel right.
weren't right.
But anyway, I even went to Australia to visit him once.
Wow.
And he lives in Melbourne now, I think. We're not in touch, but Melbourne, and it was just amazing.
A great week.
Yeah.
A great trip.
Yeah, and then we stayed in touch for a while, and this was like back when there were cassette tapes, and he would send me like little Chopin pieces, like beautiful romantic Chopin pieces, and on cassettes, and write me letters and send them in the mail, and like
That's
write me love
really
letters.
Nice.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's
Do you
like
still
giving
have
me
those tapes?
Yeah, I think I do. I think I
Yeah.
saved them. But anyway, it just sort of petered out. I mean, being in touch with somebody that's in Australia, and that's just not.
Before the internet, before like being able to manage the long distance and stuff like
I mean,
that.
you could hardly call each other because
So expensive.
you had to. Yeah, it was really expensive to call, and so we wrote letters, and he would send me music of him, and that made me feel really close to him. But it just sort of petered out. I mean,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And did he end up staying in Australia?
He's in Australia now. In fact, I was kind of I think I found him somehow, and just, I don't know if it was an email or a message through Facebook or some social media, but years ago I just said, "Hi, how are you doing?" And he was friendly, but it's just like what's there to say? I think he's married and teaching at a university in Melbourne, and I'm married, and so it's.
I understand. I mean, I don't know. I'm somebody that once a connection is made, I kind of always feel it, and I'm often kind of disappointed when I reach out to somebody that I feel like I was good friends with or close with, and then years go by and you reach out and you get kind of a cold. I'm always, I don't know, I'm the opposite. So if somebody reaches out to me and it's maybe been 20 years, but there's fondness in my heart, like, I'm not saying that we need to be best friends, but I always feel touched that they've thought of me and want to reconnect in a way. So
yeah, I can relate to that, but this didn't seem cold to me. It just seemed like our paths are really different now.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel a coldness, just like it just didn't go anywhere. So that's okay. You know, I mean, it's fine.
yeah,
He seems happy. I'm happy. So
it's a positive experience.
Yeah.
You had a great relationship.
we
and-
did.
Yeah. Well, it's very
And
nice.
sometimes those people just are better off in our memory. Like, there he was as that
true.
freshman in college, and that romantic, and sending you the letters and stuff. And now you've reconnected and you're like, oh, you're 43. Oh, and it's like I didn't really need to see you old, because I still had this wonderful
he still
idea.
looks really good.
Well, I'm sure he does. I was just trying. I was
He
trying
still
to
looks really good.
trying to make you feel a little bit better about it.
I feel okay about it. I don't feel bad at all. I'm okay. I just, I was just kind of interested.
They don't know what to say when
It's
a woman
okay.
that they were with, many years ago reaches out. They don't know how to.
Well, he's married too,
Yeah, and they
that's
don't know
that's
how.
weird. I mean, like, Eric, my husband, has had old girlfriends reach out to him, and of course he tells me about it, and it's fine with me. But I don't know how I'd feel if he was like all buddy with them again. So
Fair enough.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I think it's okay. I mean, it's appropriate that we reconnected a little bit briefly, and it was friendly, and then that was it. That's entirely appropriate.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I usually just like to, stand outside their door
In the rain.
in the rain
with a glass of wine
or with
in a bag.
with a boombox over my head.
Oh,
Right.
like that movie
Say
with John
anything.
Cusack.
Yeah, I like to do that. Yeah, and then when they don't acknowledge me, it just really makes me feel bad.
Yes.
No.
That would be the ultimate Valentine's surprise, right?
And then if it were John Cusack
Yeah,
too,
oh,
then
yeah.
That would
definitely
be pretty awesome.
I think he probably would at least be intelligent.
Probably so.
Probably.
So, Michelle, it's your turn.
I know it is my
Don't
turn.
avoid it.
Right.
I think
So-
you're vamping to avoid it.
I am working hard on avoiding it because, I started the episode off so
So joyous
so
about
joyous about love. Yeah. I think that, I've thought about this, for all of 10 minutes. And, I could say that, my ex-husband was my first love, but I think I would probably be misleading myself on that. There were...
love. How old were you when you met your first husband? Or your
my only husband. Yes. Thank you, Emily.
Sorry.
Yeah. I haven't married any future ex-husbands yet. But no, I met when I was 21.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
21,
young.
22.
Yeah.
When we got married, I was 24. So, and then divorced when we were 34. I was 34. So I've been doing this for a while. And then, there were a few in college that, I cared deeply about. But, that nothing transpired from that. And, since I've been divorced, there was a relationship for a very long time, and that didn't go anywhere. And somebody asked me one time. She was like, "Well, so who's the one that got away, or who's your greatest love?" And I have to say, it's me. I am my greatest love, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
There's nobody else. I mean, I'm not looking for somebody else to complete me. It'd be nice to have somebody to hang around
Sure.
with, to do things
Yeah.
with. But yeah. So I think I come from a different point now that I'm older and wiser than if you had asked me this in 10 years ago or 15 or 20 years ago. So, and I'm okay with that. And and I think if we all recognize that we're all our first loves or our main loves, then all the love that you have to give everybody else is bonus.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Your answer was way better than ours. That's like so profound. That's
Well,
beautiful.
thank you. Thank you.
So deep and
Yeah.
thoughtful. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think when you have that security in yourself and you have that love and compassion for yourself and you're not necessarily looking around, like that's when the right person appears. Because you're not needy, you know what I mean? You're not like, I need someone to complete me, because that's just not, that doesn't make for a really healthy relationship.
And a lot of guys don't
So-
understand that. They're freaked out, especially like, wait, you don't need me, and then they don't like that. Some guys.
I think the
Wow.
opposite.
No, some guys are like,
really-
because they don't know how to define themselves in a relationship unless they're being needed. And I'm always like, well, I don't really need you. I just want you.
I feel like asking the guy sitting next to
Yeah,
us if that's true or
Sam.
not.
Oh, Sam's like,
He's like, I am
Sam's
not
like, I
answering
don't,
that question.
man, don't put me on the Valentine's episode, man. That's just gonna ruin it
He's
for
like,
me.
I'm just gonna look at my phone and pull my hat down a little bit more. Maybe they won't see me.
Sam is very, I think, wise for his age and
Yeah.
has a very sensitive heart. So I would be willing to say that we'd probably be impressed by his answer
I'm sure
if
we
he
would.
was willing to contribute.
I'll answer you on the next round.
Okay, fantastic.
That would
so
be
Sam's going to join us and
fantastic.
answer that question.
So
I'd
that's
love the
that's
male
great.
viewpoint on that, because that's interesting. I have a completely opposite view, but I think it depends on the man. I mean, just like, so many things depend on a personality type. I think there are maybe some men that might like a needier person, but some are bothered by that. That's like kind of stifling,
I have found that
claustrophobic to
when
have someone suffocating you.
now granted, in my time there's been a few times I've been that suffocating person, and I've grown from that. I look back, I'm like, oh, Michelle. And I do an Italian accent. Oh, Michelle, but I also found that men that I've interacted with can be intimidated by somebody that isn't
Stronger woman.
or as strong and equal. That isn't somebody that's just a fragile flower and a damsel in distress. So that's kind of where it is right now. But I think we need to take a break.
Yeah, we do. We need to refresh these
And,
glasses
we've got
of
some
ours.
dessert.
And, oh, yes. Heidi brought these
Ooh.
wonderful
I've
desserts.
Yeah.
been trying not to stare at them.
We'll have
They're
to-
distracting me.
We'll have to take a picture of these. They're just
Absolutely.
lovely. And
We'll be right
so
back.
we'll share these desserts, refresh our glasses, and be back in a moment.
Right.
Okay, so is there a way to scratch that question that was like...
No, you can keep it.
Oh, it was funny.
It's
Really?
fine.
It's absolutely
don't.
funny.
Yeah,
Really?
it's
Are
fine.
you sure?
Yeah, you can ask me anything, and if I don't want to answer it, I'll say I don't want to answer that.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
totally
I
fine.
felt like I pushed a boundary too far. and
No,
felt-
that makes it interesting.
We,
I mean, it can't just
and we-
be boring.
We pushed back. I think we made light of it.
Okay.
You know,
yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
All right.
care.
It wasn't my intention to make anybody uncomfortable. So.
But don't worry
Yeah.
about it because you shouldn't feel like you can't ask certain questions. Just ask anything, and if I don't want to say it, I'll just
Then
say
you'll just- yeah, then that's-
I'm not going to answer you,
Right.
Emily. Next question.
So Michelle, what do you think about?
I don't want you to feel restricted.
Okay.
That's no fun.
I'm gonna post on the page because we're at
I'm gonna go to the
8:03.
bathroom.
It's right there.
Yeah, do a post that we're going to be a little later. 8:30.
It is hot in here.
So Sam, do we need to set up a mic here for you? Okay. You can refresh your glass too, Sam, if you'd like. Good. All right. So I'm going to let Heidi divvy these up.
She brought those too.
Yeah,
I brought
there
those.
might be a knife. Oh, you brought these. Is there a knife in here? There it is.
You want to be out of the frame for the.
This is kind of hard to cut. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm making a huge mess of it.
It could just be where you just put one on each plate, and then people can just dip in with their forks.
Okay.
You know,
I think you're right.
instead of trying to
Yeah. I'm
Here, put that.
Okay.
put that right here.
I'm massacring it by trying to cut it, so I think we'll just kind
Put
of.
one each on each plate, and then we'll just. Oh, let me have some of yours.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll just
Yeah.
pass the plates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is cheesecake. That's obvious what that is. It's
Yes.
chocolate tart, and that's a very
Mm.
creme fraiche
Mm.
thing.
It's got like an almondy.
Put that in here.
Oh, it does?
I didn't lick it.
I was gonna have you lay it down in here if you needed some place to put it.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. I didn't lick it. Okay. And then give it a little napkin for. Okay.
We have a lot of people coming to the live thing.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
So so let's keep rolling. We're ready.
So are you going to
We're gonna invite
frame
you.
your question to
Nope.
me?
Oh yeah, we'll refrain you. Yeah, yeah. We'll. No.
We're actually gonna give it to you in sign language.
Because that works. That works so well on podcasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Odd.
Yeah, is that a good one? All right, I'm gonna go for
Oh
this
my
guy.
God. Wow.
Check.
That is not cheesecake.
Ooh, what is it?
It's like cheesecake with cake.
Oh.
It's like cheesecake on top of cake.
Where did you get these?
Whole Foods.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So
Oh,
good.
okay, that's pretty darn amazing.
Is it good?
Yeah. There's like a
There's a
raspberry on the bottom, and
I'm gonna pass right now.
We're not.
Yeah, it's fine. It's totally fine. I'm still kind of recovering from the 12th night party.
Are you seriously?
Yeah. And, going to Pagan Wine Bar afterwards.
Yeah, I actually did a second charcoal tablet.
I should have.
Yeah.
I just did the one.
Oh, I totally massacred this too. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That is marvelous.
Isn't that good? Like cheesecake and cake. I never had that before.
And white chocolate.
Is it white chocolate?
It's
Is
white
that what that
chocolate.
is? Oh, really, really good.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Here, I'll just clean that up since I made a mess. So the YouTube listeners are going to get to hear all of our grunts and yums.
Yeah,
And
apparently I
Yeah.
made quite the moan after one of the glasses or sips I took in the last episode. Friend was like, "You need to listen to yourself at 10:19." I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I could we should
that looks
we should take that
interesting,
clip and just make a loop on it.
Make a bee out of it.
Yeah.
For sure. You're
Yeah.
talking to the right guy.
Yeah, yeah. We could probably then sell it and
Next thing you know, you're
And
gonna
retire.
Find yourself in a Kanye West song.
oh well, of course I would, as long as he paid for it.
Yeah.
Dearly.
Do you have a favorite?
maybe this one.
Really?
What's your favorite?
I think I'd have to go with this one.
Chocolate.
I mean, they're
all
all
great.
amazing. None of
Yeah.
them are not amazing.
I agree. Yeah.
But if I had to eat like the rest of one of them, if I
Right.
had to, I would eat the rest
You
of
got
that.
yeah.
But
right.
I'm not gonna.
Okay, are we ready to get rolling
Roll
again?
back in.
Yeah. Okay, we're back. We have full glasses, and
Full
we
glasses.
started diving into these delectable desserts over the break. So those who are into yummy sounds, our YouTube channel
It's full of them right now.
Right.
Yes, and it all looked delicious, and
Yes. So we wanted to invite Sam back in, and many of our Cliterati have heard Sam join us on a few of our episodes before. So we just wanted to ask him his thoughts on
Men.
yeah, and men,
needy women,
and
independent women.
Do you prefer
My
to
thoughts on
feel
men and
needed?
women.
Right.
Yeah.
And could you take 30 seconds and tell us your thoughts on men and women?
And why?
Can you narrow the question down a little?
Yeah, I mean, are you someone that prefers to feel needed, or are you more of a equal balance kind of
Comfortable with
style?
that.
Yeah, and do you know men that are, as Michelle was kind of referencing this, preferring to be the person who takes care of a woman?
Yeah. So my fiance is a pretty strong-willed person, and I'm perfectly fine with that, obviously. We get along well. I think, and we've talked about it, I have the personality type that I usually am kind of cool with anything until I'm not, and then I make that known, and that always seems to work fine for us. Usually I don't care that much, and I don't, whatever we do, or it doesn't matter to me. But then when I have an opinion, I do care that it's heard and that it's respected. As far as a neediness thing,
Well, prior to meeting your girlfriend or fiance, when you were out there in the dating world, were you attracted to girls that were more independent or ones that had a neediness or please be my savior kind of person? Oh, and then maybe think about your circle of friends, because again, I realize we are making you speak for
All of
all
man.
of men.
I'm going to get some angry calls like, dude, you're giving all the wrong answers.
Yeah.
And this wasn't approved by the board of men.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do. I think it's important for me to feel needed in some respect. I would have a hard time if I felt like I wasn't needed at all. But I think it's a spectrum, frankly. I don't know that it's an either or a men or women thing. I kind of agree that it's just more of a personality type thing.
Right.
I mean, obviously there's social gender roles, traditional gender role kind of thing that comes into play. And so I think I definitely know men who need to be they need to be needed, and they need to be
The strong man.
Yeah, they need that.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise their ego struggles. I don't need that, but I do need to feel important,
Sure.
or like I can help with something, or like I'm contributing something. Otherwise, I do get down on myself.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I understand.
Mhm.
Right.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Wheeling
good.
out.
Awesome. Thank you for that. That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Good
So
answers.
Heidi, your husband now, who is just awesome. I love your husband. He's funny, and you two seem so well matched. You know, and you just celebrated a significant anniversary.
We did 20 years.
Yeah.
Married 20 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
so great.
Yeah.
Is he must like strong women also?
I guess so.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I hold a job, and I'm an independent woman. You know, I bring in my own salary and all that. He and I are both very, very independent individuals, actually.
You're both entrepreneurial as well.
Yeah, we share that too. However, I would have to say that in our home, we have very traditional, old-fashioned roles. Like, I like him to be the man, and I want to be the woman. You know, I definitely am not a helpless kind of person, but I like to be cared for, and all that sort of old-fashioned stuff that you know that you think about when you think about like the Cary Grant movies and that I like that. So yeah, I mean,
I can
maybe he's
appreciate that,
attracted
yeah.
to independent women, but also I think that I think you can be an independent woman but still have a softness to you.
Oh,
I think they can
absolutely.
coexist.
I think
know?
so.
Yeah.
I have found though in my experience, and this is my experience, you know, getting divorced when I had a 0-8 and a 0-4 and an 8-year-old, and I had the children all the time. Like all the time, I had to develop qualities to keep 3 other people alive, you know, and vertical, and get them out of high school. All these qualities that you need to be the man and the woman in the house, so that you can, you know, keep 3 children, you know, functional. That, you know, those are the types of behaviors then that would intimidate a man, because they in my perspective, I think they should just sort of respect it, you know, and say, wow, would you like to take a break? Because I could hang that picture for you. Or would you like to take a break from handling everything? Because I would like to do that for you. But they don't. They expect, I don't know. So today is apparently this is not a good day for Michelle on relationships. All of the listeners out there, this is apparently a therapy session for me.
No, but it's the honesty is so refreshing, though. I mean, honestly, it's like, you know, life is not cookie cutter. It just isn't. And nobody is never helpless, and nobody is always independent. Like, you know, it's just so.
I think it comes down.
There's so many nuances.
Comes down to having your partner in the forefront of your mind as often as you can, and not and it kind of in a way of like, you know what, I really love him or her, and what can I do to make his or her life special today?
Yeah.
You know, it's just, and it doesn't have to be this, you know, grand, oh, I bought you a Lexus and put a big red bow on it, like on the TV commercials. It could just be that, you know, hey, I noticed that we had to do, you know, you did 3 loads of laundry yesterday. They're still in the basement, and I carried it upstairs for you.
I think,
You know,
those types
little
of things.
little gestures.
Yeah, I think the key word there is partner, really, because, you know, I remember in a previous relationship feeling like it was starting to go off the tracks when we weren't behind each other all the time. You know, when that moment came and it was like, hey, where were you? I needed an advocate just now. You know, where was my partner? You know, when that starts to fall apart, and being a partner can be as simple as taking the laundry out of the machine and putting it in the dryer, but it can also be somebody that's like at your side, standing up for you when you need,
Right.
you know, when you need a battle partner, you know.
Right.
And I think that partnership.
I think the
is really
Lumineers
key.
said it best when they said the opposite of love is indifference. And when you start to feel indifferent
Oh yeah.
towards your partner. So, and I've experienced quite a bit of indifference in my life. And so, but I, as an older woman, it's sort of like, I don't really put up with that shit anymore and you're not going to be around. So, so move on kind of thing. But yeah.
Educated you on what you will not tolerate.
Yeah. And it's taken me a while. I mean, and I'm sure other women out there listening, you know, I mean, if we get better as we age, and hopefully,
That's absolutely true.
hopefully the men are also getting better as they age. We'll see, you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Always the optimist, always the optimist.
Now, how did you and your husband meet? Was it through
We
making
met-
music together?
Yeah, we met in the St. Louis Symphony, and we were both seeing other people at the time. And then those relationships didn't work out, and we started dating. And yeah, we met in the
was.
orchestra.
Yeah.
Yes.
I bet that helps that you have the same line of work. I mean, if he was a carpenter or
Which
a banker,
actually-
She is.
well, he's a carpenter. Well, that's not his full time job.
He actually flips houses, and he does
Okay.
plumbing and all that. But
That's
but
really
his-
handy.
He's very talented at that as well.
Yeah, so that's the entrepreneur side of him.
Okay.
But yeah, we met in the orchestra. And actually, yeah, your comment is interesting. It's funny because I think for our marriage, it's been great that we work together because we actually really like each other. Like going to work together is wonderful. And certainly Eric says, you know, some of the things that orchestral musicians complain about on the way home from work would be so ridiculous to other people with other jobs that if I had a spouse that wasn't a musician, they would be like, you are really strange to worry about what you just complained about. Like, what is the big deal? But because we're both musicians, we understand what the big deal is. So it's great. It's like a safe zone for us to just talk about, you know, what went well, what didn't go well, and we understand firsthand what that's about.
So it's not all glamour up there on the St. Louis Symphony stage. Orchestral musician's
know,
life isn't the glamour. It's not the diamonds and the black skirts at all the time.
You know, we're very much like actors on stage. It really is a
Interesting.
performance with a capital P. Yeah, I mean, I was just telling a friend of mine, maybe it was yesterday or the day before, I was telling a story about how Eric and I had this horrible fight on the way to a run-out concert, which means we were playing in a venue, not our regular venue.
Okay.
We were playing like out in Missouri somewhere else. We had this huge fight, and I got on stage and I was warming up. And we had not started the concert yet. I was warming up, and I broke down, and I was crying, and I turned to my stand partner, who's the concertmaster, and I'm like, David, I can't play this concert. And he's like, just don't look at him. It's okay. Don't look at him. And he wasn't like taking my side or anything. He was just trying to help me like
Coach you through
buckle
it.
down and calm down. And I ended up walking off of the stage into sort of the side area of the stage. And
During the performance, or
this is still before the performance, as we're like warming up, like it's maybe 5 or 10 minutes before we're supposed to stop. And I walked off stage and I'm like breaking down, and Eric actually saw me walk off stage, and he came after me, and he said he was sorry and calmed me down.
Good.
Which was,
Yeah.
I couldn't
he had
believe
your
he
back.
did that because I didn't even think that he would. But he did. So that's the awkward thing about working with each other, is that if you have a fight,
You can't get away from it.
really is the worst. It's the worst because you can't. and we face each other on stage.
Right.
Like we're right across from each
Okay.
other. That's why David, my stand partner, said, just don't look at him. Try not to look at him. And it didn't help.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah.
Do you, most of the time, is it a great joy for you to look across the stage and see him there? And do you have little winks or whatever that you share?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Eric often makes like a funny face if he's bored or something, or sometimes he'll look like he's falling asleep, like he wishes the concert was over. But there are other moments which are quite glorious musically, and we have like little signals for that too, and we'll look at each other.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose when you're a musician and you're playing the symphony orchestra and it's your work day, it's unlike other jobs where you could like lay down on the couch for 4 hours and nobody notices, and you're
Does
like,
that
okay,
happen at other jobs?
okay, the day's over. I can go home
I need
now.
to get another job. I need a different job.
or disappear for lunch for however many hours of the day.
Oh, yeah, it is. Well, when we're on, we have to really, really be on, and there's a lot of. I think there's a high demand for perfection, but then like we get a lot of time off in the summer, so it's kind of like all or nothing. When we're working, we're really, really required to have a high level of skill, but when we're not working, it's like it's really great. We do have a lot of time off. Yeah. So every job has its perks and its drawbacks. Every job, I'm sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm not so sure about that. I think that being the associate concertmaster, associate concertmaster at the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra that's a pretty special job. But I know you worked hard to get there. How many years? I mean, how old were you when you started playing music?
Well, my mom started me on the piano when I was 3.
Okay.
And then I really hated it. I hated the piano. Like I couldn't coordinate both hands because there were 2 different clefs. There was something in my brain that I didn't like reading 2 different clefs. So she wanted me to play an instrument. So when I was 4, I said, well, what about the violin? She's like, well, only if you play both. I was like, okay.
Was your mother a musician?
Yes.
Okay.
And so
A pianist?
Yes.
Okay. There you go.
And so I played both, I think, until I was 6. And then she just had me play the violin.
She was like,
After that.
let's just drop the piano part.
Yeah. I mean, I just hated it. It was.
And was it clear that you were excelling at that time at 6, that it was like, okay, this is a path for you?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom was really a stage mom.
Oh.
So she made that path for me very, very strongly. Yeah.
Would you have chosen something else if you could have or wanted to at any point?
I would have. Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what that would be?
I really loved writing and dance when I was young. I remember I took a dance class when I was really young. And then when I went to Interlochen Arts Academy for high school, and we had a choice between taking PE or dance. And I was like, dance, totally. So I took modern dance and ballet, and I just loved it. I mean, I don't think I was very good because you were in the class with dance majors.
Yeah.
And they were amazing. And I just loved watching them in my dance class. But had I started much younger, maybe that would have happened. But I loved my dance class, and that was really fun. And
writing.
And writing, and I'm starting to dabble in that a little bit now, actually, in writing. But I think what I've found through a lot of searching in my adult life is yoga. Really, I mean, that is really now my passion, and I am sort of evolving a little bit with my writing and seeing how that might interweave with the yoga. I'm updating my website, and I have all these ideas in my mind that I'm slowly bringing them to fruition. But, as you know, when you have children and a job and everything, life is busy. And I just am beyond the point in my life where I want to stress myself out about anything. So I'm like, I'll do my best every day to do the projects I want to do. But I'm totally not going to stress myself out about that.
Right.
It'll happen when it's supposed to happen.
That's fair enough. I mean, you think about yoga and meditation, that the point of that is not to stress yourself out.
Exactly.
So part of this program that you're developing to help other musicians reduce anxiety, especially young people as they are starting to enter the world of auditions and so forth, I'm guessing that this comes from personal experience with dealing with anxiety and music and yes, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably because music was really not my choice, and I really loathe being on the stage.
Wow.
It scares the heck out of me.
Even still.
Wow. I really don't like the stage.
It's amazing because you have a beautiful stage presence. So when you said you're on stage and you're acting, now I really understand that statement.
That's a very personal statement to me. Now, I'm not sure everybody feels that way, but for me, I have become more of an actress on stage and I'm playing a part. That's not to say that I don't feel genuine about the music at times, but just, the crowds scare me, the big hall and everything. I have never become comfortable with it. Certainly, I'm more comfortable with it because I've developed sort of inner skills to deal with that. So that's why I am able to perform. But it's always an effort. And I don't know.
Are there things that you do before a performance to prepare your mind?
Well, I mean, my yoga and meditation practice is just ongoing. It's regular and it fills me up with it grounds me, is I guess how I should describe it. It grounds me and calms me, and I've learned certain skills that while I'm on stage, if I start to feel, panic attack or some severe anxiety, I have some skills now with which to cope with that. And it's funny because you would... Like, I've seen videos of me performing,
and you would never notice.
And I'm like freaking out inside, feeling like I'm gonna die. And I look at myself, I'm like, you can't tell.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. Like, you never know
That
what
is
somebody's
amazing.
going through ever at any given moment. You never know.
I mean, I have like a similar comment to make, not at any rate of doing like orchestra performances or anything, but there have been times in my life when I'm doing public speaking that I'll be up there, I'll be talking, and I can't feel my legs.
You're like out of body.
And it's like, well,
Yeah.
I have no idea where my feet are right now, but and no one can tell. But you're like, they're not there. My knees, I don't know. I can't. And you just
And you look down and you can see
I
them,
can see
but
them,
you can't.
and I'm still
feel.
vertical, but I can't feel them right now because of the nerves that have taken over.
Well, it's the fight or flight. Actually, it's the fight or flight response, and I've done some reading about it and studying it, and that's what I want to work with young people with, because it's funny when I teach my workshops, I begin the workshop by saying, everything I'm going to share with you here today is because of me. I'm the guinea pig. I tried this stuff out on me, and as far as I know, these techniques really work. So, when I ask the kids in the classes, like by show of hands, who feels this or that on stage? Who has this experience? Like literally all the hands on stage go up. It's universal.
Right.
So I'd say maybe 1% of the musical population does not have anxiety. Maybe 1%, maybe 2%. But I'm super excited because I was just invited to Washington State this summer to teach a weekend there at a new music festival called the Lotus Chamber Music Festival.
Oh my gosh, how
exciting.
perfect is that?
I'm
Teaching
really
yoga
excited.
and music, or
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to teach yoga and meditation, and I'm going to teach a violin masterclass.
Oh my gosh,
So
this is
like,
perfect for you.
Yeah, it's like a dream come true.
the stars are aligning.
They are. At least a couple of them.
Yeah.
A couple of them are aligning.
Wonderful.
So
A way to feel comfortable in the profession that you've been in for the last 20, 30 years.
exactly. Yeah.
What a wonderful way for the universe to reward you. So you don't have to like completely walk away from it, you know?
Right. Well, I wanted to completely walk away from it, and that was a source of many arguments
I can
in
imagine.
our home. Like,
Yeah.
we're set up for 2 incomes, not 1 income. But
How
you know,
long ago was that?
I
It
took
was
a
yesterday. We just
That's
want
what
to talk
Big
about.
Brother's
it's ongoing. No, when I was 40, I took a sabbatical away from the
yes.
orchestra. One of the things about being married to a musician when your kids are young is it really, really stinks because your kids don't want you to go away every Friday and Saturday night.
And you don't want to
Sunday
be away
afternoon.
every
Right, like
weekend
that's
evening.
bedtime. They want you on the weekends. You're not there on the weekends so much. So that was kind of hard. But anyway, so that was part of the reason for my sabbatical. I just had huge mom guilt, like so much guilt for, and a lot of the women I knew at that time didn't work. They were at home, stay-at-home moms. So anyway, I took a sabbatical also to sort of just, it sounds so cliche, but find myself.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of yoga. I got my yoga teacher's certificate,
Good
and I
for
just
you.
delved deeply into that practice. And that sort of started me on this particular path. And you're right, Michelle, about how it totally is interwoven now. And it's so great that because I used to hate the violin and hate music, and now I don't. So
wonderful.
that's been a great interweave for me personally.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely wonderful. I'm excited for you.
And it's
Thank you.
awesome because not only is it's taken all of your worlds and woven them together, as you so eloquently put, but it's now giving you a new tool to help others.
Yes, and it also may sound cliche, but I really feel like part of my reason for being here is that I do want to help others. And I see a lot of really young people doing that so early on in their lives, and it's so impressive. Like they know their path is to help others. And it's taken me a really long time to get there. I've had a lot of in the yoga practice, in the teachings, they call it dukkha. Dukkha is suffering. There's a lot of stuff I've had to get through before I could get to that point. But I hope that within the next, 5 to 10 years, I sort of see myself developing some skills, and as I get older and hopefully wiser, then I can share even more and help people. That's sort of what I see my life, like where I see my life going beyond the orchestra.
It kind of feels to me, and I'm just going to throw this out there because I am, wise and all
You
of these
are.
things. It's like
You
you
are.
finally have found a way to make this career your own. All those
very
years, your
true.
mother wanted you to play the piano, then you play the violin. It was like somebody else was dictating where you were going to go, whether it was like this symphony or that conservatory, whatever it was. And now finally, you found a way, which, I mean, the people on our YouTube channel can probably see that, but you just sort of glow when you're talking about the
definitely.
yoga and the music and being able to help people. So I feel like very good things for you coming, and
Absolutely.
Thank you.
we will definitely put all of that information. If you have a website, I know you
I
do.
will. I'll
Yeah.
give
We'll
it to
include
you.
all of that on our website and our blog post,
Absolutely.
and we'll put
What
it
is
on
your
the
website?
It's HeidiMarieHarris.com.
Okay, great. We'll
And
definitely share
I should probably put up a link also to the Lotus Music Festival.
it.
I'm just
absolutely.
learning how to do a blog. I found this amazing person to help me with my website. He's awesome and he's super patient because I am like an idiot techie. I can't do any of it. And he talked me through how to do a blog, and I'm still scared. It's like sitting on my iPad ready to go, and I'm so scared to start it.
Well,
But
Yeah.
I should, because I want to put stuff on
Yeah.
it.
Well, you love to write. You love to.
I do.
You love to share. You love to inspire others. The good thing about blogging and the website world these days is that you really can't mess things up. Like, if you get it up there and
You
you're
can
like,
always take
oh,
it
this
down."
isn't perfect. Yeah, you can tweak it, change it. You're not going to destroy things. So
You know what? I think you girls have to come over to my house with a bottle of wine. I'll supply the bottle of wine and maybe some more desserts and help me with that. Give me the
that's-
courage.
We could have a
Absolutely.
blogging night because I know
Let's do
we
a
are working on
blogging
getting
night.
our blogs up to date.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I have to say that
Let's
this is
do
the first
that.
guest who's invited us to her house after she's
That's
been on the
true.
episode. Yeah.
Well, it's not over yet.
Hello.
so-
I know.
Hello, all of you prior guests. You haven't invited us.
You need to come to my house and we'll hang
Yes.
out and blog.
That
perfect.
sounds perfect.
That's what I'd like to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
On Valentine's Day, are you guys
yes,
busy?
I'm probably not busy, actually.
I'm sure Ken would understand.
Yeah. Ken
You
would
know
be
what?
like,
Ken and Eric can go out together.
yeah, with Sam.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if Sam's fiance would like
Little
that.
cigars, scotch for the guys.
Yeah.
it'll be
Well,
perfect.
they can come over too. And
That sounds great.
Yeah,
I
it'd be
think that
perfect.
sounds like a perfect Valentine's date.
That
fantastic.
sounds
Yes.
wonderful. So,
Well, Heidi, I've had so many conversations with you, and it's always great. They're always organic and flow, and we just discover new things about each other all the time. And there's so many facets of you that I would have loved to explore today, but there's only so much time on Valentine's Day. So
right. And we would love to have you back as a guest,
Definitely.
maybe after the festival. You can come back on and we can talk about how wonderful it was this summer.
I would love that. Thank
That would be
you.
great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
For
Fantastic.
sure.
Well,
All right.
thank you so much for joining us, Heidi. It's
Oh.
really been a treat.
Thank you for having me. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. This was really
It was fun.
Tons of fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Good.
Well, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy
Yes.
Valentine's
All right.
Day. Cheers.
Thank you. And thank you for listening. Follow us on all of our socials. Leave a review on iTunes, 5-star us, like we're your Uber driver. Leave a review that helps people find out about us on iTunes. We're on all of the major podcast platforms, and we really appreciate you taking time to spend time with us here today.
Yeah, we look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful day.
Until next time, bye.
Bye.